I'm getting ready to install this Hydra chip by Power Hungry Performance into the PCM on this 7.3. I've got the 7/32 bolts out of it. See, there's the PCM right there. This allows you to separate the case and access the contacts on the bottom side. You want to take this brush right here, use the wooden handle to kind of gently remove the silicone coating from both sides of the contacts. Then use the brass brush side of it to gently remove the remaining silicone. If you're getting to the copper color, you can see a little bit on that side. I was getting to it and stayed away from it on this side. Then you've gone a little bit too far. So once you start getting copper color, just stop. Use this little pad very lightly just to kind of clean it up. Once it's all cleaned off, you'll reassemble the PCM like I'm about ready to do now. And then once it's reassembled, you'll want to remove the little grounding clip that sits inside the case like that. You'll also remove this little plug that goes on the cover of the PCM. Save those. You'll need to then kind of figure out where the hole in the PCM is going to come through to the case, trace that out, and cut that out. Remove the PCM, it's pretty straightforward. This is a 2001 and it's a manual, so we've got the clutch kind of in the way and the fuse box is in the way as well, but that just adds to the convoluted mess. If you have an O2 or an O3 and an automatic, it won't be this bad. But you can see that little hole down there in the firewall. That's where the PCM pokes out, and right there to the right hand side, kind of covered by that wire there, is the plug that just plugs in there, and it's a 10mm bolt that stays with that little plastic wiring harness. Once you get it undone, you'll unplug that, and then coming in here, let me grab a light. You can see right in here you've got two bolts, one right here, one right here. Those are 7mm, and then the case kind of wiggles, pulls out, and the PCM will be in that case. I just finished cutting this hole for the PCM chip, so now it'll go right in here. Let me slide it in. It's a fantastic little fit there, and if you do it right, you should be able to keep your two mounting tabs still intact. I used this little oscillating tool, 12-volt Milwaukee. Highly recommend it if you don't have one. This is your sign, your excuse, whatever you need to go out and get yourself one. We've got the PCM installed in the truck. Now we are ready to install the chip. I've got this little 90-degree USB cable on the chip, and I'm just going to leave that attached. I highly recommend that little piece. That way if you need to reprogram the chip, you don't have to remove it from the truck. Then we're going to just take the ribbon cable, plug it in right there, and then PCM is in there and connected from the front of the firewall into the wiring harness. We'll route the ribbon cable down here and the USB cable down in here, and then tape it onto the box to make sure that it's not going to come free. I like to use this Hydra in-dash flush mount from Riffraff when I install these. It's a nice little piece of hardware. Goes in, and I like to install them right there. Provides a nice little view through the steering wheel as you're driving, and a quick, easy adjustment of the chip. Here's how I like to route my cables. I like to put a little tie wrap on that one right there through the hole in the chip, and take a flush cutter, cut it off, then route this ribbon cable up and over like that. Then the chip will slide in like that, and I will put some tape on it. Loosen up these two screws here, pull the PCM case out there, stuff a piece of tape back there, wrap it around. Now the chip is installed. I tested it by turning the ignition to run and making sure the wait to start light came on and turned off. Haven't started the truck yet, but then loosened those up, put a piece of tape in there, avoided that top USB cable and the ribbon cable. Just went around, wrapped it there to secure it. Brought the USB cable up here and secured it through the frame or the dash cross member right there. I'll do another tie to hold it right there out of place, and then snip those off with flush cutters. On the ribbon cable, I just taped it up gently to one of the wires underneath here to keep it out of all the pedals and everything. And now it's routed over to here, and it'll be real easy just to plug in to the controller once I get that installed. I just come in here and eyeball where I want this thing to sit, trace it right there, and then I'm going to use a little cutoff tool, cut that out. This piece will sit flush right in there, and this guy goes right inside. Really nice. Nice flush mount, and then gets plugged in right there. And that wraps up the install for the Hydra chip. Got the USB wire tied right there out of the way now, and the Hydra flush mount parked right there. So I've got some other stuff I'm doing to this truck as well, but started it, truck ran, cycled through the tunes. I have 3 tunes on there that are high idle for the PTO, and they were working just fine. So it's excellent, and now we will move on to the other stuff.